Yeah, okay, then let's get started. There's not too much on the agenda. Here he is. Hi, Dave.
Hey.
Hey, everyone.
So then let's go over the topics we discussed last time. The incompatible routing release is in, so temporarily changing the update releases pipeline to make the build green was okay, and it's now included in the latest CF deployment release, which is now a major release because of the breaking change. Then Cloud Foundry acceptance tests for CF Linux FS4. So I enhanced the tests a little bit. Where is the PR? Yeah, so they now accept multiple stacks, and in particular, the build pack detection tests now detect all configured stacks. Here it is. And we also now have additional tests for the R build pack and the Nginx build packs. So this gives us a good report about the status of the build packs. Okay, build pack support for CF Linux FS4. I have opened a lot of issues on all of the build pack projects. So this is the latest state. These 5 are supporting FS4, Go since the very latest version. And yeah, everyone else is now notified to add support. Branch protection rules, this is for next year. And for the update of our concourse, so the migration to Carvel Secret Gen, Stefan has planned a backlog item, which we can hopefully start in the next sprint.
I guess so, but the question is where to migrate. I think we have next week a session with Sylvester, who set up a concourse for the application runtime interfaces working group with a, let's say, more professional setup. And then, yeah, we can ask questions, especially about the secret generation, and then maybe directly jump to this setup.
Yeah.
Looks
okay.
promising.
Let's see.
But yeah, let's see what they show, and then we can decide based on
we
the
have to
effort.
decide what to do. Yeah, nevertheless, Concourse is running perfectly fine. So I had to scale up a lot of Bosch directors because they only had 2 CPUs and things were taking quite long. But this should now be settled.
One thing on this, we did notice that the CF1K's working group just was upgrading our concourse, and the latest version in the Helm chart is 7.9. But that did not work for us. We ran into issues with, I think, Guardian on the workers. And so we've downgraded back to 7.8.3, and that's functional. So if you're looking at updating the version, it might be necessary to just specify a target version in the chart. There's a top level image tag key that goes into the Helm values that you can specify the version of Concourse that you want to target.
Just wondering which version we are using at SAP 7.8.2. Okay.
The only difference between 7.8.2 and 7.8.3 is that there was a bug with authentication if you have multiple teams, where teams could send unauthorized requests to other teams' pipelines or jobs. But if you've only got the one team like we do, then that shouldn't make any difference. So 7.8.2, 7.8.3, I think, are identical as far as we're concerned.
Okay, good. Then we will keep this in mind when updating.
But if you just say, yeah, if you just update the Helm chart, then I think you'll get 7.9.
Okay.
So something to keep an eye on.
Okay, good. Yeah. So CF deployment, there was another surprising issue that Dave and I discussed. So in the GCP Terraform database provider, they sneaked in an incompatible change. So the deletion policy was set to abandon by default, which means the databases, the test databases for this one environment were just not deleted, and then they could not be set up again because the creation is not idempotent. But luckily, this adding this deletion policy, delete on all the test databases solved the problem. I will still open an issue on the project so that at least they document this better or mark it as a breaking change. Yeah. So nevertheless, everything is running quite fine here. Most of the working group team members have now cut release. And this is the experimental cat save Linux FS4 job, which is, I've shown this already, which is expected to be read for some time until all build packs have FS4 support. Okay. Now what's left to do? There are still a few infrastructure migration leftovers. So one is the experimental environment on AWS. Here, when I have time, I will contact Chris to and ask him to give us an AWS account where we can migrate, and then we can also hopefully migrate the domain. It's still on the old cf-app.com domain. And there is still one, I think it's this one, the green grass environment is also still on, where is it? Still on the cf-app.com domain. Test greengrass. I think this is the one for stem cell update tests. So this one should also be migrated. I don't find the domain at the moment. Yeah, I don't know if any one of you has time. If not, so Carson, you are now an expert in migrating environments. If you have time, it would be great. If not, then we find someone else.
Yep, I can look into greengrass.
Yeah, good. That should then be the last one.
Then we have the AWS landscape still open, right?
The AWS is still open,
yeah,
yes.
Which is a bit more.
Could be a bit more effort. Well, maybe not. So actually, what we need is, no, this is in CredHub. Basically the account credentials, and we call destroy and set up, and we'll see what's missing.
Yeah.
We need to adapt the domain then also to the ARD domain. Good. Yeah, so apart from that, progress is quite fine, in particular for the FS4 support. So this is now released since 23.3. here we added the experimental ops file. We forgot a tiny little something which I just noticed today. So there's an ops file use trusted CA certs for applications for FS3. And now we need the corresponding thing for FS4 in experimental. Yeah, so this is not yet released. That means for us at SAP, we have to temporarily include this in our list of ops files. Yeah, but not a big thing. If anyone wants to approve this pull request, then I merge it in and it comes in the next release. Yeah, and yeah, so we also will now integrate the new experimental ops file, and we will roll out the FS4 support, partial FS4 support, so the stack will be available for everyone, and these 5 build packs, and then users can start to evaluate and to migrate. Okay.
Maybe one question here. Do you think about promote then these CF Linux FS4 ops files? I mean, now they are experimental, but once it is working, we could also say that these are regular ops files. I mean, eventually they will go away because CF Linux FS4 will be the only stack, but long term, who knows, these exercises, we might run one more time through it, right?
Yes.
I mean, I think once it's considered stable, we can actually inline this in and just leave, have 2 stacks in the default manifest, and then just have the default stack be 3, but just have it specified as you have both stacks available. It doesn't need to be an ops file at that point.
Yeah, that's right. When would we do that? Only if all the full build pack coverage is there, then it's probably
I think so. Once we have all our once packs are passing, we can talk to the build packs team, and if they're happy with the state of FS4, then yes, we can inline it at that point.
And then the next step is then probably to take out CF Linux FS3, right? Again,
right. I mean, I would assume that file right, we'd inline it, we'd change the default to give people the ability to still stay on 3 until they're ready to migrate. And then at some point in the future, yes, we'll remove 3 from the list.
I think that's pretty close then to, let's say May, April, when the security updates stop, basically, then it's the right time, right? At least to
I think so.
start to take the
I think that will be the key to removing it, is that the build packs team will tell us, oh, hey, we're not supporting the stack anymore. So okay, well then we'll remove it. So we've got to work backwards from there and decide at what point in time do we want to change the default. I guess that's as soon as it's considered stable and all the tests are passing.
Yeah.
So I
asked in the last TOC meeting about if there's a timeline regarding the remaining build packs, but there was only vague, and for legal reasons we cannot say anything. So we have to wait and then see. This is also for us a bit not so nice, but that's the way it is. I mean,
right.
I guess they do their best to deliver the stuff, and that's all we can hope for.
So I mean, we could technically combine the first 2 steps, and when we inline it, we could make FS4 the default immediately, and just leave 3 around as an option for people that aren't ready to migrate yet.
We have time to decide about that. It also depends when this support comes. I mean, nobody takes CF deployment as is in any production environment, so everybody will do it on their own pace.
Yeah, that
makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, at some point in time, we will have to delete the FS3 build packs from Cloud Controller.
Yeah.
How did we do this last time?
I don't remember, to be honest, but I guess we will find out.
Right now, what we have built is only an upload and update, but not a delete.
Maybe as a simple one-time script. I mean, that's deletion is not that.
Yeah, okay, it's probably good enough.
I need to plan all the stuff. There are more steps to CF Linux, the stack switch. I mean, force migration of the remaining applications, and also the documentation needs some attention. I would say the open source Cloud Foundry documentation it refers from CF2 to CF3, and maybe beginning next year we should overhaul the documentation and say now we provide information from CF Linux 3 to 4, search and replace, and check whether all the tools and all the data is still valid, what is mentioned there. I think there was an old, what was it, stack changer plugin for CFCLI in the past. Don't know if that still works, etc. We haven't looked at it, but this is mentioned somewhere.
Changing stacks.
Oh, stack.
2020.
Yeah, the stack auditor plugin. That's this one I meant.
The stack auditor plugin.
Yeah, it shows you first of all the applications that are still using a certain stack. That is a useful tool. I mean, the switching, don't know if that makes sense, but this is only the hard way. Normally, the development teams should do it on their own and test, of course, upfront. So you can't do it as an operator from outside. Yeah, it's old stuff. Probably uses V2 and all the all the fun stuff. But yeah, let's see.
Yeah, well, okay. At least updating the documentation should be an option. Custom stack. Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. It's not too much, so yeah, should be able to get this updated. Okay.
So I approved that PR, so you're good to go to merge that when you're ready.
Okay. Great, thanks. Then let's quickly merge that one. And when it's released, so next CF update cycle, we can include this. Until that, we will have to use a temporary ops file for us. Okay. So yeah, I don't have any other topics. Everything is running fine. We have new cats release. We have Bionic stem cell is more or less running fine, the validation. For CF test helpers, we now have a simple pipeline for releasing. Yeah, so no more topics from my side.
I have a couple of things.
Yes.
As part of the concourse upgrade, I was wondering if we should also try and upgrade the concourse workers from N1 legacy machines to N2 or E2 machines to save some costs and get on the new hardware.
That makes sense, I guess, yeah.
Makes certainly sense, yes.
Cool. The other thing was that it seems like there's a duplicate environment hanging out in our GCP console. There's at least an extra DNS, like cloud DNS zone for Bellatrix. And it's possible that there's extra VMs lying around from some kind of bubble up for Bellatrix that never got shut down.
That is possible, yes. Yeah, I'm not sure if we can check this now.
Yeah, if you go to cloud,
Okay.
cloud.
You already
cloud
mentioned
DNS.
that there are some duplicate DNS entries, but I have not paid attention to that.
If you look at Athabasca has the exact same domain as Bellatrix stable zone. I think we may have just forgot to bubble down at some point. We may have to use bubble cleanup leftovers or whatever that orphaned thing is at command is at this point. I don't have much familiarity with it.
We have the destroy.
Mhm.
So Bellatrix is used for this bionic validation. So this is the Bellatrix environment, and yeah, I mean we can do destroy, and
I guess I'm not confident that destroy is actually going to rip down both of them, because it seems like
no, it
one
will
of
not,
them is
certainly not.
the new one.
Yeah,
So
then
we may have to go in and manually delete that thing.
Mhm. So I know, yeah, it's really duplicate. Yeah, this is a bit tricky. Do the instances, do those have labels so that we can find which one belongs where? I think they have some network tags labels. Yeah. Yeah.
You might be able to filter by the labels.
This was
I
horrible.
haven't tried that.
Labels, but then you have to use a very exact syntax for filtering for labels, or you get nothing. So I'm not sure if I guess they are not labeled like this, right?
That seemed to get some.
Mm-hmm.
What about Athabasca? Whatever that other one is.
Yeah. Just the Bosch director, okay.
Okay.
And in the bubble state, we have nothing with, yeah.
Yeah. If we go back to in the history, we might find an older version of it that had Athabasca, or maybe we just deployed it and never updated the new one.
Okay, so very likely the Athabasca is outdated and obsolete. Yeah, when I have time, I'm checking for lost resources, and this should not be done in a hurry, or you delete the log. Yeah,
True.
That's true.
yeah, and then we can clean that up.
Sweet. I think the only other thing I wanted to bring up is that the CATS pipeline has been consistently failing ever since I merged in some simple Dependabot PRs. So gonna have to have a look at that at some point.
Yeah, I noticed that just triggered again.
I'm fairly certain it was just Dependabot PRs, so I don't know what's changed here.
Well, okay, it's at least quite consistently. But it's from very different scenarios. This was, yeah, okay, it's consistently failing. Other push, different path, wildcard routes,
Yep.
copy over packages, droplet bits.
If I have time, I'll have a look. But if other folks have time, feel free to, fix it first. I just wanted to call it out.
It looks really a bit odd that the tests of completely different packages are consistently failing. So okay, no idea, but if you have time, then please check. This is actually the first time I see CATS failing absolutely consistently with the same tests failing. So in CF deployment, CATS is also often failing, but usually it's just one or two tests, and then you re-trigger and it's fine again. Yeah, okay, but that should make the root cause traceable.
Yep, that's all I got.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I think we're good.
If not, then I think we all have sufficient input for the next time. So the last meeting for this year would be on December 22nd. Who is not here? Thursday, December 22nd.
Think that I won't be able to make that.
Okay.
All right, I should still be around.
Okay, good. So we
Yeah.
meeting will take place as planned. Okay, good. That's fine. Yeah, if there's nothing more,
Then,
I think we're good.
thanks for attending
Thanks,
and
everyone.
and
see you.
wish you a nice
Thanks.
evening, nice day. And I'm now going to a wine tasting.
Perfect.
Good. See you soon. Bye-bye.
See you.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Yep. See you. Bye.